Hello everyone, it's me, Wizard Guy, and I know I haven't made a video in a long time, but to be honest, I haven't really made one because, I've been on that grind, working jobs and shit, casual adult things, trying to stay alive, trying to stay ahead of the grind, especially trying to get money when economy's fucked up, I live in the US, so, of course, naturally, Biden's an idiot, screwing things up, and I'm just trying. I've been trying real hard every day to, be there and, working jobs and all that, staying on that grind, But I'm not making a video today. I want to personally just want to talk about my things about this new season. Sorry, I forgot to turn off the volume, so it'll be easier for you all to hear me. Well, I didn't play last season because, it was cool, like the, all the ancient Greek stuff, but I was mainly playing other games, so, eventually, like, reveals, leaks, and all that. I started talking about apocalyptic wasteland sort of theme, and well, I was really excited. I was like, yeah, man, I can't wait for this new season to come out, bro. I'm ready for this thing. I'm ready to see what's going up. I'm ready to see the skins. And well, oh boy, the battle pass is pretty cool. The tier 100 skin's looking badass. Especially like one guitar emote, with the fire and all that. Battle Pass looks pretty cool. I was thinking about buying it, but of course I'm just decided to play this a little bit of the season first. Checking out like Battle Royale and all that, but oh boy, how am I supposed to get down to it? I think if y'all ever play Fortnite, you probably know about the, sort of extreme dividedness that is this season. You got like two sides, One side's like, yeah, this thing is pretty cool and all that, this is pretty awesome. And then you got the other side that's like, oh my god, this is the biggest piece of fucking dog shit, what the fuck is this bullshit, really hating on it and really tearing this season's asshole a new one. And I started making a random video to kind of give my thoughts and opinions and all this. So if you don't, in case you don't understand, this season's like apocalyptic themed, but there's also just like things about the cars in this game, which, at first glance you would be like, okay, cool, what's wrong with the season? Oh, is it like some new... Nope. Dear viewers, the problem with the season can be summed up in one simple word. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess what this word could be. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you guessed cars, congratulations, you're right, cars. Now, I'm not talking about cars like in rocket racing, because, there's nothing really bad with this one, neon tracks are cool and all that, but I'm talking about cars in the general, like, map, if that makes any sense. Well, let me just say, first off, I hate this season. I don't completely hate it with a passion, I'm not saying, like, I wish this season never existed. I will say, there is problems. But, of course, obviously, Fortnite has fair share of problems or mythics. I've seen clips of that Zeus mythic where you shoot down lightning at your foes, and we've seen things like that. We're no stranger to these things, but oh boy, this season it's a little bit more rougher. Now, you're probably wondering, what is it about cars? Cars are not really that bad. What the hell could possibly be so wrong with this season that's got half the community, like, we're getting at each other's throats, and it's starting like this entire kind of like war between the Fortnite community. Well, it is the new attachments that you can put on vehicles, you know. So you get into a vehicle and there's a bunch of crates around the map, which sounds cool. Here comes the controversial part. As of currently, there are different modifications like bulletproof tires, okay, the Calcat, you know, like the little battering ram, and the controversial things are the grenade launcher and the turret that you can have on top of your vehicle. Now, as I'm currently recording this video, I believe there's been some nerfs, but let's be honest, there's still problems. So let's talk. So I'm here to talk. I'm going to talk about like what's going on, you know, and give my sort of opinion on things, and in case anyone cares, because I mean you probably will. I mean you might even agree with me, because believe me, I'm not the only one, you know. Now I'm gonna look at this from both sides, you know, both sides. So I'm not gonna be some like, oh my god, I'm sorry, a terrible Arnold impression. Dear God, that was worse. Probably about as worse as my driving skills here. But okay, first off, I want to personally say before I get into this, I understand what they were kind of going for. Like I understand what the purpose was for this season. Like with the weapons and all that, like having a mounted gun on top of your like car, or like a grenade launcher that either someone could control, or maybe like have a guy, or you could jump out, or you know, like having entire fights. I mean, there's the Nitro Dome that's like an entire entire arena with like a bunch of blades and all that. You know, clearly this season's all about cars. You know, vehicles like apocalyptic wasteland, like car fights that you might see in Mad Max or potentially Borderlands. You know, I mean, I understand the theme of it. Now, of course, the theme is not the problem. In fact, the theme's pretty fucking badass. The problem is how they kind of did this. Now, obviously, they wanted to make sure that the cars were, you know, strong. You know, they didn't want them to be like weak, like they didn't want the things to like die in like a piece of paper, you know, die real fast, or be like, oh, it's not that engaging, you know, craziness. Unfortunately, Epic must have taken a little one too many, you know, smoked one too many pounds of weed, marijuana, when they did this, because they fucked up big time. I mean, big time as in, and if you don't think it's really that bad, I mean, seasons, you know, people liking this season it's an all-time low. So what is so bullshit about these weapons attachments? Like oh my god, Wizard, what the hell is wrong with these things, man? It sounds like you're just being a little bitch about it. Like, no. Let me stop you there, viewer. So, in case, here is the problem. Now, obviously, Epic's obviously made these attachments with the mindset of everybody kind of fighting each other in these vehicles, you know, a bunch of guns and shit. You start shooting each other, you're shooting at each other's turrets, you're like trying to tear them apart, you're like having these crazy fights with these vehicles, and obviously I respect that. That's not really too much of the problem. The problem is they kind of made things a little too powerful. Let me explain. If you get into Fortnite, which I highly suggest you don't, if you want to keep your calmness, or if you want to keep your sanity, Unfortunately, it seems like Epic, the best way to try to describe it is it seems like when Epic made these things happen, they kind of neglected to think about, oh, what about those who don't have vehicles? Like, what if you're not lucky to find one? Or what if yours, like, breaks in the middle of the storm circle? Or some situation happens where you don't have a vehicle and everyone else does? Well, they kind of made the things broken. And I don't mean like, oh, it's a little tiny bit overpowered, it's a little bit crazy. No. They kind of make the season where if you don't get a vehicle at the beginning of the game or middle of the game, or if you get a vehicle, you're basically screwed. Let's just call it what it is. Oh my god, I'm ripping off Optimus. If you don't get a vehicle, and if you don't got any weapons on that vehicle, you're screwed. You can just kiss any chances of winning goodbye, because you're not gonna get it. You're not winning. Unfortunately, you're just not gonna win. You're not gonna win. You can kiss that victory royale goodbye. And of course, now this seems like a pretty broad statement. This is a pretty crazy statement. That sounds like would be like a clickbait video that someone would be making, but unfortunately, it's not. This is because, well, let's go over the things that make these cars bullshit and stupid. And for clearance, I'm going to talk about just the normal cars. You know, I'm not talking about the boss car, because that one's been kind of nerfed, and plus there's only one of them. But since cars are fucking everywhere, you might as well know, like, what about these is stupid. First off, let's just talk about getting these weapons and all these things. They come in crates, which is like, okay, so what? For one thing, these crates are roaming around the map, and they kind of refill. Makes sense, right? Like, you would be like, obviously, man, you gotta get more opportunities. Now, obviously, they're on a bit of a cooldown, so they don't, like, oh, there they are immediately. So, first off, it is really possible to literally get all these things. To get all these, like, attachments and upgrades and all that. You know. But now take into account, say if you don't have a vehicle. Now let's go back to my earlier statement. If you don't have a car, you're screwed. If you don't camp into if you don't hide inside of a car the entire game like a pussy, you're dead. You're just screwed. You know, like gunfights, like hand-to-hand, like, I'm not talking like it builds. I mean, builds is bad, but zero build is bad, but this shit's in builds and zero build. This would not be a problem if it was like an LTM, but there is no LTM. This is in normal modes. I mean, hell, it's even in Team Rumble, but Team Rumble's not that bad because you can respawn. But in modes like solo, duos, you know, trio, squads, where you only have like kind of like have one life, I'm going to start off with the weapons themselves. Now, obviously, the grenade launcher has been nerfed a little, but it used to do a fuck ton of damage, and it felt like you were getting hit right in the face with an RPG. And this is just the thing itself, you know, the explosive damage. That's just the explosive damage alone, and considering that you're not, like, and considering that, like, someone's shooting at you through the window, or you didn't have the minigun. Oh my god, the minigun. For one thing, you can literally be a solo person, you could just switch seats, and just pull out the minigun and just control the little minigun. Or you can have a person control that minigun while the car is driving. If this doesn't sound so bad, it's not. The rate of fire on this fucker is crazy. Obviously, there's just an overheating bar. You know, overheat. You gotta let the thing cool down. But this thing fires so fast, you can legit die if you're not in a vehicle or anything like that. You can get killed. You can expect to die and get your ass sent straight to the lobby in like a couple seconds, because those fuckers do like 30 damage per shot. And now normally this wouldn't sound so bad, but the fact that these things fire, I would dare say that these things fire fast, probably fire faster than a fucking juggernaut on like Modern Warfare 2. And I'm not talking about the recent shitty one. I'm talking like OG, like back on like back in the old days of PS3 and all that. If you want to get really into it, you can, I'll even say you would probably get killed faster by this thing than going to Modern Warfare 2019, going to any Spec Ops or anything, or any mode that's got a Juggernaut, AI Juggernaut, that has like a minigun. Or if you want to compare it to like the Clifford the Clifford guys from Doomsday Heist and GTA 5. Or the Unholy Hellbringer / Widowmaker. With, if you see how fast those things can kill you, imagine that on a tiny little thing. Now 30 damage doesn't sound like a lot to a person, consider like, oh, I have 250 health. Oh, that's gonna kill me a couple shots. Why is it that bad? Let me tell you. First off, this thing's a fully auto, extremely fast firing. I mean, if you saw how fast this thing fires and you get shot at it, it's the fact that someone driving it, not only because there's like, and the reason I say you're screwed is because not only can someone be little pussies and just sit in the driver's seat and just speed. Like, then obviously there's another thing to sing is nitro, you know. It seems like cocaine. We're not even getting to a thing of like breaking the vehicles, you know, breaking through walls like it's nothing, just bull rushing them. Because that one's been kind of nerfed. But in case you didn't know, with these vehicles, especially even without Cowcatcher, you can get fucking rammed. And the damage without Cowcatcher, this fucker can hit you so hard, it would actually feel like I've actually been one-shotted. I've been hit. Like, there's been time when we got in like the top 10 and we got hit by a car. And of course I was trying to defend my teammates. And the fucking car hit me only once. And I was like pretty much like full health. And that fucker hit me so hard. Not only did it just straight up outright kind of slaughter me in one hit with like barely any chance of survival, but I even made a joke out of it and told my friends, dude, and I forgot who it was, but somebody, I told him, dude, it feels like I got hit by a car in real life. Like, this thing did so much damage, I'm surprised my character did not just, like, die. Or just immediately, I mean, he did die immediately, but I'm surprised he didn't, like... You know what I'm trying to say. These things ram hard. And it's something that's not, and as if that's not bad enough, you have Boost. You can drive right into an enemy, and obviously they're gonna get knocked back. You know, originally cars were like not that hard. I mean, they hit a little bit, but they didn't like completely annihilate you in like one hit. And this is just considering, and this is not even and I'm just being nice and not considering the fact of what would happen if you got hit while someone's shooting at you with like a fucking giant turret that's probably that fires faster than like that's probably firing faster than like some of the SMGs you would see on Call of Duty, or like a minigun, or any other examples I talked about, like with the GTA Widowmaker one. And you would get completely slaughtered. Now, of course, naturally, you would probably be like, oh, I can just shoot them up. I'll just shoot the vehicle and make it blow up and they can't use it anymore. And also the fact that I'll just blow the fuck up, or anything like that. Well, guess what, Pally? Guess what, folks? They gave these motherfucking things like double their health. And this is not even like the boss car or anything. It's literally just double their health for no fucking reason. So if you're trying to shoot, and it's bad enough hitting the driver's seat, you might as well not even try, because those guys can go so fast that trying to hit someone in a driver's seat, you would have a much better chance of going outside when it's dark and stormy and there's lightning everywhere, sitting on top of your roof, drink so much fucking booze to the point you get super fucking drunk, and you would have a better time getting struck by lightning while super drunk on the roof, dancing around like a weird fucking drunk ballerina, than hitting people with that thing. And if you do hit them, it's not going to kill them. And with the addition of bulletproof tires, you can't weaken the cars or anything. So, and of course, now you're probably asking yourself, what the fuck can I do now? How do I stop this shit? How can I survive? And their friends, you just said the problem in there. There's really no counters at all to this. To this season. I mean, this season is awesome, obviously. But if you don't have any sort of they really out here rigging this shit. It's like you would have or better yet, you would have a much better time. Here's what you would have a much better time with. Go to a casino and gamble. Go do some slot machines, or better yet, go to your local place, or go any restaurant that has a claw machine. And if I gave you enough money to get that claw machine, you'd be like, all right, try to win this plushie. Try to win these plushies. As many plushies as you can. I want you to try getting 5 or 1. You can put in enough money for 100 tries on a claw machine. You have a better chance of winning a plushie out of those 100 tries than you would killing somebody in a turret, killing someone in a car, on foot. Because for one thing, there's basically no fucking counter against these things. Obviously, we remember the mechs. The mechs were a little horse shit. But there was boogie bombs. You could throw those boogie bombs, and then the mech's gonna start dancing, and then and that's your opportunity to strike them. Obviously, there's basically nothing against cars. You can build all you want. That shit's gonna plow right through. And while you're falling to your death, they're gonna happily be like, "Hey, buddy, fuck you, fuck you," as they pump you full of lead while you're falling to your death. So while you're breaking your fucking ankle, so while your character breaks their legs on the fall, they're gonna get pumped. They're gonna a nice, beautiful present of getting pumped full of lead from a fucking minigun that's gonna seal the deal in 0.5 seconds. And if I sound like I'm being a little extreme about it, I'm actually not. You can get on Fortnite right now. Go in there. You will see this bullshit. Now, obviously, we've all probably heard about Ninja, how he kind of got victimized and he kind of quit and was like, dude, I can't do this shit. Now, obviously, we got this side. It's like telling Epic, this is bullshit. You guys are really doing bad. But then we got some of the people who I'm just gonna say it, the people who are defending it, the people I'm about to describe are probably a bunch of pussies that like to stay in their cars all day. They're probably disliking it just because they're just too scared to fight people at all. They probably camp in the corner unless they probably camp, and they're probably treating this shit like it's Call of Duty. Like they're probably you know, hiding, waiting for a vehicle, and then once they find a vehicle, they're just gonna stay in it the entire fucking game and not even bother to fight anyone. And be like, oh dear God, please don't fight me, please man, wait man, please don't kill me, oh God. You know, basically like being too fucking scared to do anything until they can find a random minigun, and then they're like, well, I'm gonna stay in here all fucking game. You know, and those same people are going around, and and obviously if you went on Twitter or whatever, I don't go on Twitter because it's a bunch of dumbasses. But obviously you would still get people like, ho skill issue, you guys are just upset because it's a new meta. You just gotta adapt. You just gotta duck and adapt. You gotta stop being a filthy casual, bro. It's just a skill issue. Oh yeah, man, you just suck because you got killed by a turret, man. Just so many things. Yeah, just get a curtain. And obviously some of these people are, and of course, naturally, people who are defending this are probably old and probably busy on their probably the same type of people that while they're sitting there in their cars all day waiting for Storm, just sitting there doing absolutely bumfuck nothing. They're probably sitting there watching Skippity Toilet on their iPads and or whatever or Skippity Toilet, or talking about Riz Yacht or whatever the fuck, whatever kind of language children say now, whatever the young ones say nowadays, whatever your slang is. I'm old. I mean, I'm not that old, but I'm still old. You know, I'm old. I mean, I don't understand what the hell this Gen Z language is, but anyway. Now, obviously, people are like, man, this shit's Fortnite's gonna die. Like, no, I don't think this season's bad to the point where it's gonna die. So, I'm gonna get to a bit of a more positive note, because I can't really think of too many positive things to say. But I'll try. Here, I'll give it a try. Well, in this season came along. Well, this is actually some of the gameplay here from Rocket Racing is actually from the new season that came out. Not season, well, sort of season. Well, Rocket Racing season with different challenges and all that. You know, some of the Neon City things, which is actually really cool. You know. Different talk, and people are talking about like Lethal Company skins being in the game, which I mean, I'm well, I'm being ready for that one. You know, obviously different challenges if you want to get some things. Unfortunately, I can't think of any positives because I couldn't really live long enough to see the positives. Well, I'm currently getting getting face down with the fucking turret, and it feels like I'm a one-man army trying to. I feel like a one-man army, and unfortunately I can't exactly be like Rambo and pull out 2 dual M60s and scream at the top of my lungs while I gun down all the vehicles and all that. So I'm gonna get to more of a hope. There's hope for this season. I'll say that. I'm not saying like, well, this season's screwed. You guys are screwed. Here are some improvements, some suggestions. Epic's gonna probably not give a fuck because they're too busy smoking their Zazas. Which if you don't know means joints, aka marijuana. But here's some suggestions that might make some things work. That maybe if they're implemented can make the season better, because this game is actually cool. I actually like I like logging on, you know, playing my boy Goku Black here. You know, I like getting on, playing with friends, checking out the different maps, like horror maps, especially Creative 2.0. I never really got into Lego Fortnite. I don't really care about that too much. And part of it's the fact they don't have fucking Goku Black in it and Lego Fortnite. But you know, this season's got some positives. Like, I mean, let's talk. I mean, for one thing, the settings. You know, unfortunately, there's only parts of the island that are post-apocalyptic themed, which I kind of wish the entire thing was, but I'm not complaining. The Nitro Dome is actually a really cool thing with like an amulet, you know, medallion, you know, kill the boss, get their medallion. A little bullshit, but I never went for it because I barely play it because fucking cars. But I've seen the arena today. I was playing Team Rumble today, and I actually saw it. Saw the Nitro Dome, and holy shit, it looks like it would have been a good potential LTM. But I'm not here to talk about the LTM. In fact, speaking of LTMs, shut up. Now, I understand if these things were stupidly powerful in LTM, where it was like, okay, here's your car, you know, kind of like what I believe something like what Warzone 1 did, where it's like, here's your car. So the first thing I'm going to suggest is, if we're going to keep the current things of damage and rate of fire and all that, because that's going to take a fuck ton of nerfs, and obviously epics and hot shit with the community, most of the community right now, so they can't really afford to be fucking up too many times. Now, if they want to keep this current formula of what's going on with like all the damage and all that, one potential strategy is, well, make an LTM out of it. Instead of having it be in a, like, assault, like, be like in normal and zero build and normal and zero build mode, you know. I mean, if we're gonna have like these bullshit rate of firing things and all that, you know, maybe just put it on, you know, like an LTM, like okay, here's your car, here's your squad inside this car, go ahead and work together, get upgrades, but don't let this car die, because if you let this car die, you lose, or you'll die, or you die with the car, or something like that, which not only will go along with the theme of like car battles, but not only would it go along with the theme and all that, but people can just gun each other with having fun, and you know, because I'm pretty because now I'm no detective or expert or anything like that, you know, I'm not some crazy influencer like, I don't know, Fortnite YouTubers like Top 5G or whatever the fuck, but I'm pretty sure the reason there's a lot of backlash and people hate this, including popular beings like Ninja, is because of the fact that it feels like you can barely survive. So if we made an LTM where it's like just simply cars, you know, you just get some cars, you know, you drive around, you know, maybe survive the car and be like, this car, you gotta keep this car alive. If your team's car dies, you're eliminated, you know, something like that. There would probably be not that many problems with it. The second thing that they can, second thing they can do is, well, simple. Nerf. Stop the fucking, nerf some of these fucking bullshit things. Nah, I'm not saying like nerf it to the ground as in like make this thing completely and utterly shitty to the point where no one's gonna even want to touch it at all, sort of thing. I'm not encouraging that. I'm not saying do that. I am saying just make these things not, you know, like make it so that way people without vehicles have a chance to fucking fight, instead of just be like, fuck you, you're screwed. Now, obviously, that's like more counter. People will say like more counters, but I mean, even with all these counters, still, yeah. What if you're not lucky enough to get so many things? You're just gonna get. I'll tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna get gunned down faster than an Allied soldier during D-Day, World War II D-Day. Now, I'm not trying to be like making any offensive jokes or anything like that. I'm serious. I'm just trying to give another example for my viewers of just how crazy this thing is. You know, and all that. I mean, the Epics already kind of did a bit of a good job, sort of. Like, just getting started on the nerfs, but honestly, another thing you could try to do is, if they need to, just vault the weapons and all that. Vault some things. Or unvault some things. You know, like people are talking about like bring the anvil launcher. Like EMP grenades. if we do add EMP grenades, make them so they, or maybe add some item that disables turrets. Like you throw it on somebody, on somebody's car, and the turrets are just like dead. Kind of like in like Modern Warfare 3. Obviously, OG Modern Warfare 3, not the fucking shitty excuse that is Modern Warfare 3. You know, where it just goes kaput. You know, like make it die or something. Make it die or something. Of course, the boss car is really not that bad because it's only one of a kind, but that could potentially use some nerfs that I'm hearing from people. Another thing, make these drops, these weapon drops, not so goddamn common, sorry. Make these things not so common to the point where it's bullshit. Because they're like pretty much fucking everywhere. You know, not, obviously I'm not saying like make these things like rare, more rare than you getting a, you know, like don't make these things more rare than winning like a anime plushie from GTA 5 arcades. If you know, you know. You know, I'm not saying like make it stupidly rare, but definitely make it so that way. Maybe make them like come from like supply drops, perhaps. You know, like supply drops. You know, like have them come from the map and have people fight over them. Like, because that could add some interesting, because that could add some specialty, some interestingness. You know, like hey, you like some good decision making, like hey, we can go and try to fight this, but and obviously we're no stranger to that, because I mean everyone's going for the medallion, of course, and like I know half the half of Europe's gonna go down to get that medallion, but also maybe have some of that. It'll be technically fair because, you know, it seems like well earned, and if you do get gunned down, at least you won't have to be like, man, this is bullshit. I mean, you might think that initially, but it'll be a lot less bullshit than what it is currently. And all that. Another thing that could happen is maybe not get rid of this like thing where it's like, oh, you can just recharge the thing and then wow, the gun or whatever is like ready and all that. Instead, make it a one-time usage, because there's already enough things about like healing the cars and all that, and basically keeping these cars immortal. Like, I definitely say let's stop keeping these cars like immortal. You know, it's already kind of bad enough that people are already forced upon to deal with this type of shit, especially with like, you know, especially like barely being able to do anything, because honestly that's pretty much like what I'm pretty sure if you ask people why they hate the season, me self included, that would be part of it. You know, like you can't really feel like, because unlike all the other seasons besides season X with the fucking mechs, it felt like people always have like some sort of thing that they can use to kind of survive. They made it fair. I mean, sure, there would be like a bullshit item or two, but it felt like anything was fair. And it was like, okay, if you don't have this thing, then oh, it's not, I mean, you don't really have that advantage, but you still have a good chance of survival. Until now, they basically gone and be like, well, guess what? You don't get a fucking car, you're screwed. And that's obviously the, like, if you don't have this item, you're fucking screwed. That is the worst thing to do. In fact, I would dare, I mean, I don't know if it's worse or like better or worse than like what kind of fucking Call of Duty's been kind of doing recently with their fucking bullshit about their, you know, pay to win skins and all that. Pay to win skins and all that, but whatever. But yeah. And my last and final thing is, for the love of God, nerf the fuck, I mean, at least change how the numbers. Now, obviously decrease the health of the things in general, and just nerf, you know, like nerf, like change up the damage, you know, like have it to where it does a fuck ton of damage to vehicles, but for players, like instead of doing like 30 fucking damage per shot, if that thing's gonna fire that fast, at least make it like 10 or 15 or maybe like, 15 damage per shot, which sounds like it's gonna be a little shitty, but honestly, first off, let's be honest, that thing's fire rate's gonna definitely compensate. Damage will probably add up fast. First off, and second off, this shit's mainly meant to fight vehicles, not fucking just sit in vehicles like little pussies and gun down people. Because the thing about it is, or at the very, and here's a bonus one before I let everyone go here. Make it so these things can be shot off. Make it so where the turrets have limited health and people can shoot them can shoot and destroy them, and when they're destroyed they just die or whatever, and they disabled it. They can't survive. Instead of making them fucking invincible. But yeah, that's just my thing about the season. The bullshit that goes on with this season. And like some improvements. Obviously Epic's not gonna listen to me because they're too busy smoking they're too busy snorting the special sugar up their noses. I'm not gonna identify what the special sugar is. You probably should know. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys. Thank you all for watching and hearing my rant about this bullshit. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below anything you want to comment down below, and I will try to see about maybe doing some more videos and kind of doing like what Optimus does, except I'm not trying to rip them off or anything like that. Because, yeah. Thank you all for listening, and bye.